All sports, all the time.
There's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered. Legends never die.
This is the Spoken Podcast.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
I'm your host, Lance Twidwell.
Man, that kid, he can ball, man. He can ball.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
Patrick freaking Mahomes, baby!
Let's talk some sports, because that's what we're here to do.
You are tuned in to The Spoken.
This is the Spoken Podcast. I am your host, Lance Twidwell, here inside the Spoken Studios of my guy, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good, everybody?
Episode 245, the long-awaited episode that we have been holding against you guys, or holding and in ransom almost with you guys, because we've been away for a couple of weeks. It's finally here. We're finally here, and we are glad to be with you guys, whether you're live streaming, podcasting, or YouTube. We want to thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this time, as we have. I think it's going to be a fun show. We don't have a lot to discuss today. We have a few talking points that I want to get to tonight, guys. We felt that it was worth having a show tonight, like I said, with the way this year's gone on, and with the lack of news at this time of year. It feels like once the Super Bowl's over, there's very few things that come out until March. We felt it was probably best just to kind of step away just for a little bit, and you know, life is life, and so you got things going on, and that's just how it goes. But we're happy to be here regardless, man, and I know that we're all having trying times in this world, which is always good, you know, to gather together and talk about things that kind of get our minds off of the craziness of this world that we live in. But we're happy to be here, like I said, and I hope that you guys are happy to be here as well. Let's get the chat going tonight, guys. We really want to hear your guys' thoughts on things, because we're going to give you, or at least I know for sure, I'm going to give you guys some opinions you may disagree with in just a minute. But regardless of whether we agree or disagree, we want to hear from you guys. So if you guys would be so kind, go to YouTube, hit us up on the Spoken Podcast, hit subscribe, obviously hit like, share all the fun buttons they got for you guys there if you want to do all that. But the button we want you to push the most tonight is the comment button. We want you to be a part of the show. That is integral to what we do here. Community-driven show. We don't want to talk at you. We talk with you. If you're new here, make sure and get in there, guys. We'll make sure and let everybody know that you are welcome, that you feel welcome. That's what it's all about here. We want you guys to feel like family, because that's what we try to continue to put out there as much as possible. We hope that everything, like I said, has been fun for you guys over the last few weeks. The Super Bowl's come and gone. We've got a lot go on before or after our last show. We've had some really good shows with really good guests. We decided it was time to have just kind of a sit-down chat amongst all of us normies, if you will. So I say all that to now hand it over to Trevor. Trev, how you feeling? How are things going for you, man?
Oh, man, it's good to be back. It's a busy time of year. The new year's kicking off. Just been working, and yeah, man, not too much, but yeah, I mean, like you said, the Super Bowl's coming past. Interested to see how people felt about it. I think there was more talk about the halftime show than there was the actual game.
Yeah. The outrage.
Yeah, man. The selective outrage is great. Yeah, man, I'm good, bro. Ready to talk some ball. Ready to look forward to some things and touch on some subjects that have been kind of circulating in the locally on certain people's futures and other things that we'll get into, I'm sure. But yeah, man, ready to. We haven't talked much about anything that's going on off air, so
yeah,
it'd be interesting to see how we agree or disagree here moving forward. So,
well, let's touch it. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Without further ado, it is time for Lance Rants.
Gotta scream! Down! We're back on motion!
So we are in the festive time of year for some. It is Valentine's weekend, and I personally, if I just can be just blunt with you guys, yeah, totally, the top of my list of holidays. To me, this is nothing more than a gaslighting marketing scheme for men. But I digress, because I know for some, love is in the air. And I would say, in particular, Kansas City has some love in the air, if you know what I mean. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of Jeremiah love going on when it comes to what the Chiefs are going to be doing with the 9th overall pick. And it's not just Chiefs fans. It is national guys like Field Yates, Mel Kiper, guys of that nature that are very smart individuals. I'm not sitting here saying they're not good at their jobs. They are. I definitely believe these guys are good at their jobs. My only pushback with them in particular is I think that if we really look at what they do in the grand scheme of things in a very, microscopic viewpoint, it's entertainment purposes. And I'm not going to go off on a rant here as far as what these guys' qualifications are to predict, mock draft, things of that nature. But when I see things like this, that is where my mind goes, is that this is simply just entertainment to fill the void, to fill the time for fans to watch, listen, react to things while there is no football. And it's genius because we all eat into it. We all feed into it. It's literally what we're talking about right now. It's what we're literally consuming on a daily basis. It's what we want. They know that. And I know there's a lot of Chiefs fans out there that echo those sentiments for their own reasons, whether it's the same reasons Mel Kiper and Field Yates and guys like that are saying it, or you have your own reasons. Jeremiah Love is still, to me, the number one desired player amongst the majority of Chiefs fans. And I understand, okay? And I know that might shock some of you for me saying that, but I do understand. Because to the point, the Chiefs have been very inept at running back for the majority of a decade, and in particular over the last couple of years.
Yeah, on its face, it makes sense.
It's cost this offense drastically. So I understand. And to a certain degree, I agree that having a guy like Jeremiah Love in this offense would be preposterously awesome. It would be something that I think would be an incredible asset. We saw in 2017 and 2018 a third-round pick of Kareem Hunt come into Kansas City and change the landscape of this offense, both with Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes. He was an absolute X factor for this offense. So I would imagine, being somebody who expects Jeremiah Love to be a star in this league, you put him in this offense, he's probably going to be kicking in a high gear and elevating this offense to a certain degree. I'm expecting Jeremiah Love to be a good player. I'm expecting Jeremiah Love to actually be a really good player. Maybe even a great player. But there's no scenario that I'm taking Jeremiah Love at number 9. I tweeted this out earlier today. I'm going to say it here on the show. I would rather the Chiefs overspend on a veteran free agent running back than overdraft Jeremiah Love. I know there's a lot of people that are going to disagree with me on that. And I'm going to explain to you why that is. And I know we've had our previous discussions before in the past on this show as to why I feel the way I feel, Trevor feels the way he feels, we feel the way that we feel about this particular topic. But right before the show tonight, I'm sitting there, I'm just kind of going over my notes. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm not gonna win people. And it's not that I'm trying to win you guys over, but my goal is to always give you guys my viewpoint or my opinion with a very fine-tooth comb. Yeah, I want you guys to get every detail I can possibly give you. So I felt like I wasn't giving you guys that to start off with my notes, and I'm like, I'm missing, there's an element I'm missing to what I want to tell you guys tonight. So I just decided to just do what I normally do and just go back and start researching this certain position. So what I did is I went all the way back to 2016, a 10-year sample size of top 10 picks. And these are the running backs that were taken in the top 10 of their draft class and their team's postseason record with them. I want to make sure you guys catch that part. What that team's postseason record was with that player since 2016. Ezekiel Elliott, 2-4. Leonard Fournette, surprisingly, 2-1. Christian McCaffrey, 0-1. Saquon Barkley, 1-1. Bijan Robinson, not available because he's never made the playoffs. And Ashton Zenty, not available because he's yet to make the playoffs. So not only have there only been 6 running backs taken in the top 10 over the last 10 years, their teams have a combined 5-7 postseason record with them. Now I know folks are going to push back on this because it's the Chiefs and they're perennial Super Bowl contenders and they got Patrick Mahomes, so it's different, right? But is it? Because the Chiefs have had unprecedented playoff success without ever having to come close to a talent like that in the backfield over this span. But even with the previous success aside, we have to acknowledge the how on how the Chiefs have pulled off the last 7 seasons and how that cannot be any way or shape or form the way they do things moving forward because of how 2025 went. They have to land building block players for a chance at another dynastic run with Mahomes now in his 30s, which means they have to hit early in the draft at a position of top value and importance. The Chiefs are not right now Super Bowl contenders. I know that we had a long way to go. I know that, it's such a non-starting conversation to start talking about Super Bowl favorites and who's the playoff teams. That is so ridiculous in February. We don't do that stuff. Yeah. We're not doing power rankings. We're not doing any of that bullshit. But we all could sit here and agree that the Chiefs have a long way to go, and it's where they're currently at with their roster and with Patrick Mahomes' uncertainty with his injury. The Chiefs they have a better chance right this second of repeating 2025 than repeating 2023 because their roster is not in a good place. And that is why having a top 10 pick right now is of the utmost importance for the Chiefs. I don't care about draft accumulation of talent. Like, oh, is this a better draft than this previous year? I'm not worried about that stuff because that is so unfounded. Like, you can't. I know that there are assessments out there and predictions out there of this draft class is better than this one moving forward. But guys, even in 2013 when the Chiefs had the number 1 overall pick, everybody shat on that fucking draft. But yet there were 4 Hall of Famers that came from it. Okay, so I don't want to sit here and talk about draft classes and the rankings of what their talent levels are. I understand that there's probably more ideal draft classes in the past that the Chiefs could have got a top 10 pick in, but this is the reality they live in. So they have to make do with what they got. And when like I said, when you look at where the Chiefs have to go, you can't look at these last 100 top 10 picks. 100. The last 100 top 10 picks. Only 6 of them were running backs, and literally none of them brought their franchises that drafted them any postseason success, then turn around and tell me that going after a running back with a top 10 pick is the missing component for the Chiefs getting back to Super Bowl contention. It doesn't make sense based on the history of this league. I just gave you guys a 10-year sample size. I understand those teams don't have Patrick Mahomes. But that's not the end-all, be-all. You don't have to have a Patrick Mahomes to have playoff success. You know what you have to have? Legitimate rosters. We just saw the Seahawks win the Super Bowl with who? Sam Darnold. And they had one of the best running games in the NFL, and neither one of those guys were a first-round pick.
They did have the offensive player of the year on their team.
Absolutely. Yeah. JSN's an absolute stud. There's no question about that. Yeah. That's the point I'm trying to make, though. If you have to build the roster. Yes, you have to build the roster. The Seahawks, correct me if I'm wrong, they didn't build this roster on a Saquon Barkley in the top 5.
They are a defensive team.
Yes, they've been building on defense, building on defense, stacking the roster, bettering their offensive line. And then you have a 28-year-old Sam Darnold who was previously a bust come into Seattle and help you lead that team to a Super Bowl victory. That's the point I'm making. You don't have to sit here and make the excuse of saying, well, these teams don't have Patrick Mahomes, so going running back makes more sense because the Chiefs have Mahomes. No, if anything, you need to go in the opposite direction because you got to go and get the pieces that matter the most to the positions that matter the most. That's the point I'm trying to make here, guys. It is not that I am anti-Jeremiah Love. If Jeremiah Love was in the second round, you best believe I'm telling the Chiefs to draft him. It is all about the situation and circumstance that the Chiefs are in. They have a top 10 pick. This is an opportunity the Chiefs can have to go and get a Will Anderson, an Aiden Hutchinson. You could sit there and yell at your screen right now while I'm saying this and say, Lance, that guy's not there. How in the hell do you know? Max Crosby fell into the 4th round. That doesn't happen every day, guys. Those guys will be there at times. But my point is, when you look at the running back position as opposed to edge rush, which you guys clearly know where I want the Chiefs to go, you see a vast difference in how that position hits at certain rounds. Guys, 6 of the top 10 leading rushers in the league last season, 6 of the top 10 were not first-round picks. The guy who led the league, in fact, the top 3 guys in the league that led the league in rushing were second-round picks. James Cook, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry. Second-round picks. So I understand the fascination of Jeremiah Love, but you have to look at what the Chiefs have to do with this particular draft, and in particular, even more so, that pick. Because if you look at the majority of the best pass rushers in the league, they were not only first-round picks, they were top 10 picks. There's no coincidence here, guys. Like I said, Nick Bonito and Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby. Yeah, those guys fell out of the first round, and they've become stellar stars in this league. Those are the exception to the rule, okay? Those are guys that fall through the cracks. We had Tom Brady fall to pick 199, for Christ's sake. It does happen. I'm not sitting here and saying that every single edge rusher in the league that's top-notch is a first-round pick. But if you look at the majority of them guys, the majority of guys that hit at that position at a high level, they are almost always exclusively top 10 picks. That is what the Chiefs need to go after. People can try to sit here and create these scenarios and tell me, well, Lance, nobody's going to be there. Ruben Bain's going to be gone. I mean, David Bailey's going to be gone, so you don't even worry about it. Guys, do you remember just 1 year ago when everybody was telling us 𝚂𝙿𝙸𝚂 was a first-round pick? How'd that go? Fell to the 5th round.
Not I.
Literally, almost every mock draft I saw, Trevor, said 𝚂𝙸𝙸 was a first-round pick. He fell to the 5th. So I don't want to hear people tell me that Ruben Bain won't be there at 9. I don't want to hear people tell me that David Bailey won't be there at 9. For all we know, they're going to be there at 29. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, clearly. I think both of them will be gone by pick 10.
Shit, Love might not even be there.
Who knows?
So what's the point? Like, you know
exactly.
What I mean? Yeah.
So I've talked enough. I want to hear your thoughts, Trevor. And obviously, I want to get your guys' thoughts. So give me what you guys got in the comments. But I'm handing this over to Trevor. What are your thoughts on everything I'm just saying, man?
No, I mean, I haven't, dove into the draft as much as you, and I've been kind of standoffish a little bit with all the sports stuff right now as far as all the noise that's going on right now. But as far as everything I've been hearing, obviously with the Love hype, I understand why people want to go running back, especially with the lack of production that we had this past season, and also to the take of those teams, those running backs that you listed off, those teams didn't have good quarterbacks. That kind of is the point, though. We have the quarterback, so investing that highly into a skill player, especially at running back. I mean, receiver is one thing. We obviously just did that this past draft with Xavier Worthy, but going running back there is such a volatile position. It just doesn't make any sense. Like I think, like you said, how the Seattle Seahawks built their team. Obviously, you build a defense like that with Mahomes. I'd rather have a defense, at least a semblance of a defense that's similar to that with Mahomes, than have like the best running back in football with Mahomes. It's not even close to me. You know what I mean? So I think building on the defensive line is where I think our truest weakest point was. Obviously, getting to the opposing quarterbacks was the biggest. Regardless of how bad the running back room was, the biggest eyesore to me was the lack of production on the defensive line, getting after quarterbacks, pressures, sacks. Obviously, we were terrible this year. So the running back stuff is just, honestly, it's just off the table for me in the first round, in the top 9, top 10 picks. Like, I just don't. It's not even. I would even, like you said, there's no scenario for you. There's really no scenario for me either. And it's the sexy pick. It's the shiny new toy, and it would get the oohs and the ahs that the Chiefs do draft Love, because it was the same oohs and ahs when we got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Everyone, this guy in this offense, and it didn't work out, right? I think Love is a better player.
Yeah.
Statistically, it's pretty close. So Clyde was an absolute, stud in college.
Yeah.
So that pick was sexy at the time too, and I just don't. It's just such a volatile position, man. And I wouldn't even take listen, if I can pick Jahmyr Gibbs, who maybe some people call him maybe the best running back, most productive running back in football this year, him or Bijan Robinson, guys like that, prime Christian McCaffrey, I would still take a top 5 edge rusher or defensive lineman over one of those guys on this team right now.
No question.
You know what I mean? So if I could take a Myles Garrett or prime McCaffrey or whatever, prime LaDainian Tomlinson, give me Myles Garrett, bro.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
yes.
that's the way we build these teams. So that should be the mindset. That's our mindset going into the draft. So but I understand, like I said, on its face, it makes sense for people who want to pull the trigger on that sexy, fun weapon that Andy Reid could have. But I think we got a lot more things to worry about. Like you said, we got a long road ahead of us. This is probably not going to be the funnest season ever. It's probably going to start a little slow. I know coming off last season, it was about as low as it's been in this era. But we got to get Pat ready. We don't know if Kelce's coming back. Chris Jones is another year older. He was already slowing down this past season. That's another thing to add to this point, to why we want to go so heavy at the defensive line earlier in this draft, is the guy that we've depended on for the past decade is not the same dude anymore. We got to be honest, right? So he was not the same dude this year. When we needed him the most, he wasn't showing up. He had some good moments this year, but overall, Chris Jones definitely took a pretty handsome step back this season. And we got, and we got some young bucks, so we don't know what they're made of yet. We don't know what Ashton Gelati is yet.
Right.
We don't know what Omar Norman-Lott is yet, coming off another significant injury. So a lot more question marks, in my opinion, in the defensive line room than there is in the running back room.
And it's I think you would agree with me on this, and I don't know how the people feel, but to me, just looking how the league works, it is so much easier. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is so much easier to fix the running back room than your edge rush defensive line room. It is so much easier. And the way that you can go and get a guy like the Chiefs did, and I'm not saying he's a great running back, but Isaiah Pacheco was a positive starting running back in this league for a couple of years.
Yeah, and from what we invested into him and what we got out of him.
Yeah, his first 2 seasons, he was very productive. He was a plus player, and he was a 7th round pick. You don't find the Pachecos of edge rushers in the 7th round. You would find that guy in the 3rd round. That's what I'm talking about. Think about that value difference, a 4-round difference of what you would have to find the version of Pacheco as an edge rusher as opposed to the Pacheco version of a running back. Like, you're not finding that kind of production from an edge rusher in the 7th round. You don't find those guys. That's why you have to hit early, guys, and that's why that opportunity is going to be there, in my opinion. I want to get to a couple of these thoughts here, guys, and then we're going to move to our next topic here. Our guy, BKNG Viking. Hopefully this new running back coaching combo with EB will have a positive effect moving forward. Otherwise, it won't matter who's running the ball. Could not said it better. If you guys didn't get the news, DeMarco Murray, former Dallas Cowboys running back, now has been a running backs coach, I believe, for Arizona and Oklahoma.
Interesting signing.
Since 2019, as we like to call him, spray tan, look it up. DeMarco Murray is now the Chiefs running backs coach. I don't have a strong opinion on it yet.
Yeah.
I obviously know who DeMarco is from everything I've heard, because he was obviously a really good running back in his prime, especially 2014 was an insane year. From everything I've heard, he's a hard-nosed, hard-ass, red-ass type of running backs coach, but his players love him, players respect him, had a lot of positive results in the places that he's, like I said, he's been a running backs coach since 2019 at the collegiate level. I don't know what he's going to be at the pro level, but I'm open-minded to the potential of what he can be here, and I'm obviously hoping that he can be a positive for this coaching staff, because I'll be honest with you, so far this offseason, I've not been impressed with what the Chiefs have done with their coaching staff overall. Wide receiver coach O'Shea sounds like a pretty solid guy. He's been a wide receiver coach forever, has a ton of results and a ton of references, things of that nature. So that'll probably be a benefit for the Chiefs offense as well. But you guys know where I stand on the EB stuff. I'm not going to go into that, but I just wanted to address that one real quick. Let's get to some more here. Our guy Dustin Orton, shout out to him. He said, in my opinion, you don't spend a top 10 spot on running back. They break down much quicker than other positions. Get edge help and look for running back and free agency. Yeah. Could not have said it better. That's Yes, that's literally what I was saying to start the show, that I would rather the Chiefs go out there and spend 10 to 12 million a year on Breece Hall than draft Jeremiah Love at 9. I know people think that's crazy, but it's not, because first of all, we know what Breece Hall is. He's a proven commodity, and he just turned 25. He's got years left in the tank on him. Yeah. And $12 million for a top 5 to 10 running back in the league is not expensive. And I would be willing to do that. Now, I'm not one that says that that's what the Chiefs need to do, but if you're giving me a series of choices here where it's one or the other, where it's Breece Hall for $12 million a year or draft Jeremiah Love at 9, I'm taking Dorman number 1 every single time. Yeah. And like I said, to re-emphasize my point, there is no scenario that you guys can give me. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. You guys give me one that I just can't refute. There is no scenario where drafting Jeremiah Love at 9 makes sense. That's all I'm trying to say. It's based on positional value and what the Chiefs' current needs are.
Well, and how the Chiefs consistently do, outside of the Clyde pick, this is how the Chiefs do this. This is how we draft, right? And this is maybe the most pivotal. I mean, the most pivotal before was after the Tyreek trade and how we handled those picks. But now this is even more so with Pat dealing with this and Kelce maybe being gone and Chris Jones getting on. This is a pivotal. Yeah. What picks we take here and if these guys hit or don't hit is going to be a big deal.
Yeah. And then our guy Will, he said it would be negligence to the highest degree, and as great as everyone thinks Love will be, I would bet money he won't end up having the best career of all the running backs. I don't want to get into all that because it's hard for me to predict that. Yeah. That's your opinion, obviously, Will, and I respect the hell out of it, man. All I'm really addressing, because I actually sit more on the side that I think Jeremiah Love's going to be really good. I've watched plenty of his tape, and I really do like the just God-gifted ability this guy's got. Yeah. But again, the point's more on the Chiefs side than just Jeremiah Love. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more of what the Chiefs need and what the Chiefs need to do as opposed to what he is as an individual. Because like I said, I'm acknowledging the fact this dude's I think he's gonna be an absolute stud in this league. Yeah. Our lady Julia Gooley is in here, ACU Misfit. I just got here. We need to get off the field on 3rd and long. DE at number 3. So that's where I'm at, guys. Is if you looked, the two things that drove me the most insane this season from the Chiefs was, believe it or not, had really nothing to do with the running back room, even though it was inept. It was the fact that Andy Reid's scheme got figured out. The league clearly caught up to him, and he did not make any adjustments whatsoever, and therefore the offense looked even worse than it actually should have been. And 2, you saw that, and it was so mind-boggling how the Chiefs' defense finished, I think, 5th in the league in scoring defense, yet they were the worst 3rd down defense in the league. And the best 4th down defense in the league. But 3rd down, remember I even tweeted that out, Trevor. I said, I think if it was 3rd and 99, the Chiefs would give up 100 yards.
Man, you ain't lying, bro. Like, it was painful to watch, bro.
Yeah. That's
the biggest weakness of this team.
Without question, man. Like, we're not, when we say these things, it's not us saying the running back position isn't a need or isn't a problem. Of course it is.
Yeah, it's probably a close second or maybe a third.
I would say probably cornerback would be a bigger need right now, in my opinion, depending on what they do with Jalen Watson, Mcduffie, and we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But right now, I think that, it's top 2, top 3. But there's no question on my mind. It's defensive line, edge rush in particular. The Chiefs need to hit it, and they're not going to spend real money to go out there and get a difference maker in free agency. I mean, maybe they do convince Joey Bosa to come here for a cheap deal, or Epinesa, or Dramont Jones, guys like that. I do think the Chiefs could sign one of those guys to a smaller deal, but those aren't going to be guys that come in here and lead your team in sacks. And if they do, your defense is going to suck. My next point that I want to bring up is actually it's going in the opposite direction because we're here talking about rookies. Now I want to talk about players that are probably on their way out. I'm still very much of the belief that Travis Kelce is going to retire. I know that is not what the vibes are right now. We're hearing from Diana Rossini. We're hearing from a couple of very reputable reporters, and Diana is 100% one of the more plugged-in reporters out there. From everything they're saying right now, they think that Kelce would be leaning towards returning for 2026. You guys already know where I stand on the whole situation with Kelce, but just a brief synopsis. And this isn't reflecting Trevor's opinion because I think Trevor and I stand on different places right now. I think it's best for the Chiefs moving forward if they move forward without Travis Kelce. I know that sounds blasphemous because Travis Kelce is the greatest tight end who's ever played this game. He's still a top 5 tight end in the NFL. But I look at it from the perspective of how do the Chiefs, and it's on theme with what I'm saying about the draft, how do the Chiefs get back to Super Bowl contention? There has to be a real mentality change on how they orchestrate their offense also. And I think the best way of doing that is severing ties that has been known as the safety valve for years now for Patrick Mahomes, just to throw to Travis Kelce, and 8-7 just takes care of everything. He's no longer that player. He's still very, very, very good, but he is no longer 2022 Travis Kelce, where he could just, cover all the flaws in the offense and just make up for all the inept wide receiver play like he did in 2023, even though he wasn't the best version of himself back then. Despite having the worst wide receiver room in maybe the league, Travis Kelce did enough to manufacture offense for Patrick Mahomes, and they still won the Super Bowl. That is now 3 years ago, and he was old back then. So I'm looking at this from the perspective of how do we move forward with getting Patrick Mahomes back into that mold. I don't think bringing back a 37-year-old tight end is the correct way of going about that. But we are hearing reports that these people believe that Kelce could return. I'm still of the belief, based on just how the vibes were at the end of this last season, the way he kind of walked off the field after that Raiders game, I'm taking the side that I think he is going to ultimately walk away. He's getting married this summer. I think there's a lot of things in his personal life they're going to probably start taking more of a priority. He's got a ton of offers in the media. I think there's a lot that Kelce's going to sit back and realize it's probably time for me to do so, especially considering the fact he's a free agent, which is my ultimate point here, and I'm interested to get Trevor's thoughts on this. So you guys know that I am obsessed with market value. That is something I always pay attention to because it's something that I think you have to always take in consideration when you're talking about players getting signed, cut, traded, whatever the case is. You always have to look at the market value of a player, in particular free agency. Just so happens Travis Kelce is a current free agent. Now, I've been telling you guys for the longest time that if the Chiefs were to bring back Travis Kelce, or they had the intentions of bringing back Travis Kelce, they're going to have to spend real money on him. This is not going to be one of those things where Travis Kelce comes here on a 1-year, $2 million deal. That is not going to happen. Travis Kelce is arguably the most marketable player in the NFL if he played another season. He has the Taylor Swift effect to him. That alone. Not to mention the fact he's the greatest statistical tight end we've ever seen, has 3 Super Bowl rings. Like I said, just unbelievably marketable mogul at this point. So you're not going to get that dude on a a deal that basically you could sign a special teams player for. That's not going to happen. Yeah. So what do you know? If we can look up the market value, Trevor, this is according to SpotRack as of today. SpotRack.com has Travis Kelce's market value set at $10.8 million. You'd say, well, that's not bad. You know, it's really not if you really think about it. $10.8 million for a top 5 tight end is pretty reasonable. But wouldn't you know it, Trevor? I started digging even more into some other tight ends. And what would you know? One Kyle Pitts has a market value, if we could put that on the screen, of exactly $10.8 million. The exact same market value as Travis Kelce. Now, I will say this. I will preface this by saying these values are going to go up naturally. Yeah. Once the cap structure starts to go up, we see the new league year start up, and we start seeing offers and rumors and speculation, then you're going to see some of these numbers go up. Like, for instance, Alec Pierce, his market started at $20 million. Now we're hearing it's going to be upwards of 30 because the wide receiver market for free agents this year is ass. He is the best receiver on the market. He's going to get absolutely paid. I'm out on Alec Pierce at that point. Honestly, I would not pay him $30 million a year. Yeah. But if I had to sit here, Trevor, and look at this situation right now, and if the Chiefs are seriously of the intention of paying real money to a free agent tight end this year, it should be the guy who's 11 years younger. Kyle Pitts will be 26 in October. Travis Kelce will be 37 in October. Now, I know everyone's like, yeah, but the connection and Travis is still really good, things of that nature. Guys, I'm looking for long-term solutions here. I don't think that Kyle Pitts will ever be anything close to what Travis Kelce was. But what have I been saying, Trevor, for months? That you're never going to replace Travis Kelce 1-for-1. Right. It's going to be by committee. But, and I think Trevor might even agree with me on this one, if there was a guy out there that you could say has the athleticism and the ability to make plays like a receiver similar to Kelce, it is Kyle Pitts. And I know people want to show me his stats and say he's been underwhelming and things like that. It's very true. But who the fuck has been throwing him the ball his whole career? Sure. The best quarterback he's ever had was a Kirk Cousins. That was really hard to say, by the way. Kirk Cousins, who shops at Kohl's. Okay? Kohl's Cash. He has it. Kyle Pitts has been underwhelming in his career, but I think it has a lot to do with his situation. I fully believe the Chiefs should go get Kyle Pitts. Now, the Falcons may be franchise tag.
Julia Gulia says Isaiah Likely.
Isaiah Likely is a fine player, but he also has injury concerns, and he's just not as good as Kyle Pitts, in my opinion. I think he's a good player.
No, he's not as good, but he is good.
He plays more like a wide receiver. He's kind of a smaller tight end as far as size is concerned.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he's a good player. I wouldn't be mad if they got Isaiah Likely.
He'd be at least a few million cheaper, probably.
But if I was looking at upside and the market value to consider, Kyle Pitts is the easy answer for me, dude. And I know it sounds blasphemous.
If you want a star, a possible star.
It sounds blasphemous to say that you'd pick someone else over Travis Kelce. But, dude, we can't sit here and pretend as if Travis Kelce is still Travis Kelce of yesteryear. He's not prime Kelce anymore. He is 37 years old. And we all know, again, not to repeat myself here, but maybe there's some new people that are watching or listening to the show right now. As long as Travis Kelce's in this offense, Mahomes is going to look at him first. That's how it's going to go.
That's your biggest argument again.
Yes. Yeah. It's always going to be that way. You guys can't sit here and try to do mental gymnastics and say that Travis Kelce is going to come back for X amount of dollars and go and play as the fourth option. That's never going to happen.
And you think that's actually detrimental to the offense's progression?
Yes. Yeah. Because and again, I know this sounds like I'm saying that Kelce's a problem. He's not.
Yeah.
But the offense has to evolve, adapt, and adjust to the league that's caught up to them. And they know what this offense is when Kelce's the one covering the flaws and is leading the team in targets.
I think that take would be easier to digest if we did have another guy that was like, up and coming tight end that's been getting groomed by Kelce or something like that. Like if Noah Gray was like really showing out in his moments. Yeah. But granted, Noah Gray's had some good moments, but there's no guy that's like makes us feel comfortable to move on from Kelce. I think that's why the idea that you're putting out there, which I actually agree with, that he is kind of not a distraction or not like he's like a snack, like your favorite snack that you can't help it. So you just don't keep it in the kitchen, right? So you don't buy it at the store because you're going to eat that whole bag of Doritos if you open it. It's like that very, you know what I mean? It's like that. You just don't put it in your pantry, bro. Just keep it out of the house. If you go out and maybe have a snack or whatever, but don't keep it in your house because you're just going to keep being a glutton. You know what I mean?
I know that very well.
So yeah, that would be like my analogy to what you're saying. So I do agree with that, but to the average fan, they're gonna be like, bro, what are you talking about? Who else is gonna fill those shoes?
Well, it's interesting you say that because Julia Gooley put that there. She goes, "While I agree with you, Lance, in my book, he's earned the right to do whatever he wants. There's also rumors of the wedding being postponed." Okay, wedding aside, I was just throwing that out there.
I don't factor in that stuff.
Okay, and that's fine. I'm talking about his life and how it's changing because we knew that he was the playboy and things like. Now he's like becoming like the married guy and stuff like that. Like we even see like the way his whole demeanor's kind of changed in a way. You know, with him just growing up. I mean, that happens in life, dude. We get older.
Yeah,
we're the same age as Kelce.
Yeah.
But what I want to address is when you say that he's earned the right to do whatever he wants. That's not my argument though, because let's be real here, guys. At the end of the day, this is about business, and this is about the Chiefs winning Super Bowls. Yeah. So no offense to Kelce or any other player, but I'm not concerned about what he wants. This is not about what Kelce wants because he's a free agent. If the Chiefs right now said, we're not signing Travis Kelce back, I think that's the best decision they can make. As crazy as that sounds, I don't think it's the right decision to spend real money, given the cap structure the Chiefs are in, to spend that kind of money and invest that kind of money on a 37-year-old skill position player. Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
And also too, another thing too that like just doesn't get talked about. Most teams in NFL history, let alone in the current era that we've been running this type of offense in, most offenses are not run like ours, aren't run through a tight end. Right. So like that's what's made. Maybe it is a good time to change things up entirely and have Kelce have a new number one option, whether it's Rashee Rice, maybe we bring somebody else in, or maybe it's a running back that we draft that's a dual threat kind of guy. Maybe we have like a McCaffrey situation, not necessarily that we get a talent like him, but like maybe build a team or have like a skill set running back like that. Maybe it's Love. Maybe we draft him. Who knows what we do? But like, I understand what you're saying. Like most teams don't filter their offense through their tight end. That's what's made Kelce so special is he's been a guy that could be the number one target. Most tight ends are not the number one target on any team ever. Right. That's just not how it usually goes. So I think that to that point, I think, and then if him being here is just like one of those, like I said, it's the bag of Doritos for Patrick Mahomes in the pantry. He just kind of can't help himself if it's in the house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe it's just keeping the snacks out of the pantry for Patrick Mahomes in this situation to just not even have that idea, not even have that, and kind of force him to have an entirely different offensive outlook and as far as options go. But yeah, man, I don't know. Like I do agree with you. I think your point is valid. I think it's a good point. I'm on the side of I think he returns regardless of how I feel about it though, because I do agree with your point, but I do think he some way is back. I don't think he gets the 10.8. I don't. I just think he finds a way to be on this team. The Kelce boys are different, man. They're wired different. They just love this shit, right? I feel like he takes some kind of deal to be back here. I really do. I think that's gonna happen.
We'll see, man. I mean, like I said, we're gonna have a lot of time to talk about this because I don't think that Kelce makes a decision this month. Yeah. I think right before the league year, he makes his decision, and I think whatever decision he makes, I know there's people out there that theorize and think that he'll take time off and then show up if the Chiefs make the post. No. To me, because you brought up the Kelce brothers, I think they have this principle about them that when they're done, they're done.
Yeah.
Like you saw Jason, he made that announcement on the retirement speech. There was even rumors the Eagles were trying to get him back and he shut it down.
Yeah.
I think that when Travis is done, he is done. So I'm still on the side that I think he will ultimately retire. I think that he would like to still play, but I think given the nature of him being a free agent, makes a dynamic, and with the Chiefs having to adjust a lot of things, both financially and roster building wise, I think it is the right time. I know it didn't end the perfect way, but like I've said many times on the show, how many star players in this league, or any player for that matter, had the riding off into the sunset scenario before they retired? I mean, I can only think of like Jerome Bettis.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
And it's unfair to expect that, honestly, too, especially with the run he's already been on. They just came off of 3 straight Super Bowl trips.
Exactly.
Bro. That was kind of the sunset, if we're being honest.
Thank you. The dynasty
the fact that he did that, being one of a handful of teams that's even been able to even attempt that feat.
Right.
So I think he's coming back. I do. I haven't budged from that. I've felt that since the season ended. I just think that's what's it's gonna be. Although I do agree with you also at the same time about your point about the team needing to take a different direction as far as how this offense goes. And I think Patrick Mahomes coming off the injury too, not depending on him having to run and make plays all the time too. There's a lot of things that need to be figured out. And we'll see if Kelce does decide to come back, and if his presence does, stunt the growth of a new direction this team was to go in, which it can or it can't.
Because to your point, if you notice, if you go and look at the highlights of Patrick Mahomes' like improvisational plays, the majority of them go to who?
Yeah,
Travis Kelce.
Right.
So that's
I'm okay with the improv plays going to Kelce.
But I'm saying.
Like, him being the number one option all the time, that's got to change.
That's what I'm saying. Like when Patrick knows the play is in chaos, he's looking at one guy.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day when Kelce and Tyreek were there, it's different. Like you have these two deadly all-time great players you can choose. Over the last 4+ seasons, it's been, okay, shit, I got to roll out, I got to roll my left, go back to my right. Where the hell is 87 at? Like that's the end all be all, and it's worked. Yeah. It did work for a long time, but I believe those days are done, especially as Patrick gets older.
I also do believe there was schematically, I think we were figured out this past season.
100%.
I think it was less to do. I mean, it in part it was Kelce and just the way we did things, and have to depend on the Brett Favre-esque type things for Patrick Mahomes to do.
Yeah.
But schematically, I think the biggest problem was the scheme and like us always, playing out of shotgun. It was the lack of commitment to any kind of running game when it was working. Yeah. Just things that we could switch up and change quickly and get better at. But I think Kelce could have been a negative too with the idea that you're putting out there.
Well, the good thing is, Trevor, the Chiefs got captain accountability back as their OC, so everything's fixed now.
Yeah, we're gonna be mean.
Well, the roster building has not even begun yet, guys, and I've been steadfast in this opinion as well, and I've never been more sure of it now that I'm seeing obviously most of the national media, local media start to really jump the on the train, on the bandwagon, if you will. When it comes to this Trent McDuffie situation. So I posed this this question, or I didn't pose a question, I posed this take out there the other day in parallel to what happened with L'Jarius Sneed a couple of years ago. We saw that, obviously L'Jarius was up for a contract extension. He had the best season of his career in 2023. He was the best cornerback on this team in 2023, was a massive, massive reason why the Chiefs won that Super Bowl. We didn't hear a damn word that entire offseason about the Chiefs looking to pay L'Jarius Sneed. Not from a single reporter. Not one rumor. Nothing. We heard tons about Chris Jones, though. And Chris Jones ultimately got paid. L'Jarius Sneed, like I said, had that season and then got shipped off for a third-round pick to the Titans. Trent McDuffie has had 2 All-Pro seasons so far. Has helped this team get to 3 Super Bowls and win 2 of them. Trent McDuffie's now up for a contract extension. We have not heard a single word from a single real reporter. I know there's that Chiefs page that has like 300 followers that posted that bullshit tweet. But anybody of actual credibility, not a single report about the Chiefs and Trent McDuffie working on a deal. In fact, even if you go back a year, when Ian Rappaport was at Chiefs training camp, and he addressed the fact that there has been no news on Trent McDuffie and the Chiefs getting a contract extension. Because the writing is on the wall. And the writing has been on the wall. This is how Brett Veach orchestrates the DB room. 15 defensive backs Brett Veach has drafted since 2018. He's paid 0 of them. 0. And I'm not just talking about cornerbacks. I'm talking about safeties. The only safeties he's ever spent any actual money on was free agent veteran players in Tyrann Mathieu and Justin Reed. And as soon as their 3-year deals were up, they were gone. This is how he orchestrates. So as soon as the Super Bowl, or as soon as rather the Seahawks beat the Rams in the NFC Championship, I posed this little trade scenario to make it official. You guys know I've been talking about this for a couple of years, but this is my official trade offer that I have. The Rams trade the 29th and 167th overall picks for Chiefs cornerback Trent McDuffie. It's simple. It's clean. The Chiefs get 2 picks out of it. They get a double dip now in the first round. And for all you guys that are fanatical about getting a running back, maybe the Chiefs get one late in the first round. Who gives a shit? The point is, I want to see the Chiefs get 2 first-round picks. And despite what people want to say out there and talk about how Trent McDuffie is not worth or not a first-round pick, I'm going to fight you guys to the day I die, because this league, outside of Kansas City, values cornerbacks. I've seen it time and time again where cornerbacks that are just as good, or if not just as good as Trent McDuffie, get their teams that type of haul in return. Sauce Gardner is better than Trent McDuffie. Jalen Ramsey was better than Trent McDuffie when he got traded the first time. Those guys gave their teams multiple first-round picks. Trent McDuffie can, and I believe will, get the Chiefs a late first-round pick, and in particular, I think it will be the Rams, because the Rams are a team that I believe are a couple cornerbacks away from getting to the Super Bowl, because their cornerback room is ass cheeks, and that is one of the most complete, if not the most complete roster in the NFL, with Matt Stafford officially returning for the 2026 season. The Rams know they need to go get cornerbacks, and I think with the cap room they're going to have as well, I think they're willing to go and spend that kind of money on a guy like that who's from the West Coast, who fits their defense. They're in bad need of slot protection. He is a perfect slot corner. The best season of Trent McDuffie's career was in 2024 when he played a lot of slot. That is where he belongs. Now, people can say maybe they don't pay slot corners like that. I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter if he's a slot or outside corner in Kansas City, he's not getting $25+ million.
Nope.
But he will get that in LA. He will get that in Dallas. He will get that in Tampa Bay. Those are teams to look for trying to trade for Trent McDuffie. I'm saying it's going to be the Rams. I think this is the most likely scenario for the Chiefs. They're also going to get the compensatory pick from the Justin Reed signing when they didn't get him in free agency. They're going to have 3 picks additional to their 6, which will put them at 9. That is ideal for me when it comes to the Chiefs draft. You guys know me. I want to get as many picks as possible every single year. As close as you can get to 10, you got to go out there, because ironically, the greatest draft that Brett Veach ever had was in 2022 when he had 12 picks to fuck with. He traded a couple of those away, got up and got Trent McDuffie, and ended up getting 6 starters out of that draft. And the Chiefs won 2 Super Bowls after that. That's the kind of draft the Chiefs need to have. Again, that's the way to do it. Trevor, what are your thoughts on that trade scenario?
I mean, you know, I'm right there with you on that, man. I think this is the time to do it. Even if it's a slight lesser deal than that, I think you got to at least get if you don't get a first rounder, which I think he absolutely would get at least the late first. I think the Rams' 29th pick would be up for grabs for sure. We know how, like you said, how the Rams do. They never hold on to their first round picks. So getting a talent like a Trent McDuffie, who is a good fit for what they need, makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I mean, I'm willing to do even a lesser deal than that, slightly lesser, even if it's like maybe a early second and like a third, or early second and a fourth from however we want to do it. But I just think you got to get as much value from him now. Obviously, I just don't. We got so many other holes and things to figure out, and I think Spagnuolo and the way this team is built, we always figure out that position. So that's the thing for me. Like I love Trent. I love that guy. I think that guy has been an absolute stud, all-pro at one point, a second-team all-pro too the following year. So the guy absolutely is an absolute stud at what he does. But if any position we can figure out with pennies, and a pinch, it's that position. So I appreciate everything he's done here. But yeah, I'm willing to do kind of whatever to get value and get extra picks on the board here for sure.
Our guy TJ Freely too put this out there in response to my take on Trent McDuffie getting traded. He goes, "They not trading McDuffie this year if they don't get a good enough deal." Okay, TJ, I agree with you on that. But here's my thing. I'd have to ask you in response to what to you is a good enough deal.
Yeah.
Because I would like to believe that you guys would be okay with the Chiefs getting a first round pick in return. Because I think that is a very likely scenario based upon the market for cornerbacks in this league, not just from a monetary standpoint, but for draft assets that teams give up annually for cornerbacks that are not even as good as Trent McDuffie. I mean, look at the open market, Trevor, when it comes to signing cornerbacks. Deron Bland, I keep going back to him.
Yeah.
Deron Bland's nowhere near the player that Trent McDuffie is.
Yeah.
He got $92 million. The Chiefs are never paying Trent McDuffie that money. That's not happening. So with that alone tells you that there is going to be a move that's to be made. And with the Chiefs' cap structure being the way it is, now obviously they're going to make some moves. They're going to restructure Patrick Mahomes. They'll probably restructure Creed Humphrey. They'll cut Mike Dana. They'll hopefully cut Drew Tranquil because he's 31. He's a linebacker. You don't need to hold on to him.
Leo Chenal.
Yes, like Leo will probably either be gone or they get him on a nice marketable deal. I'll be all for it.
Yeah.
With that said, though, if you trade Trent McDuffie, you also save $13.6 million. So not only are you not having to pay him,
win-win,
but you're saving over $13 million in cap space. I love Trent McDuffie too, and I know that fans don't want to see him go. In an ideal world, guys, Chiefs just keep everybody. But see, they've been doing that with the whole Run It Back tour. But with some of these moves that they've already been making this offseason, I've already been hashtagging it, Trevor. It's called the Run It Backwards tour because it feels like the Chiefs are going backwards. But that'll be a discussion for another time.
Yeah.
Paying Trent McDuffie doesn't help this team moving forward. It only puts them in a deeper hole cap-wise, and you're now paying a position that ages far worse than almost any other position out there other than running back, which is ironic because people want to go running back in the draft.
And it doesn't sound like people are against this idea. I just think people don't believe that we're going to get a good enough deal. That's obviously what guys like TJ in the chat, and the only pushback I've really been hearing is the less pushback has been about just, we got to keep Trent. I haven't seen too much of that. I think there obviously is a sect of fans.
There is, trust me.
Yeah. I was on that train for a while too, right? But similar to like people, even I remember when L'Jarius Sneed was here, people were trying to say that L'Jarius Sneed was actually the better corner, right? He was the one that was actually performing better on the outside, but easily during the playoffs when he was here. But then again, remember what we said on the show, like when he was gone, or when we were predicting he was going to be traded off and let go. We weren't going to remember. We weren't going to be like, "Wait, guys, this is what we miss L'Jarius Sneed." There was never going to be that moment, and there wasn't. As much as I love Trent, and if we bring in a couple of guys, and the scheme is what the scheme has always been with Spags, he always has guys in the right place at the right time. He knows how to figure out that position. I don't think we're going to be like, "Oh, see, Trent would have done this in that play. We missed Trent." There might be a couple of those, but it's going to be very scarce.
Well, and to your point, that's a great point, Trevor, because we've seen a rotating door at defensive back. And if for some damn reason, Trevor, people keep forgetting that the Chiefs just went and got Noel Williams in this last draft. And he showed that this kid, he's a dog. I think he's a dog.
Kid, yeah.
And I think he's going to be a big reason why people, once the Chiefs move off Trent, are going to not forget Trent, but forget his absence. Like, they're not going to be sitting there going, damn, like you said, damn, we were missing Sneed, bro. Like, man, now
there was
Chiefs,
never that moment.
Yes, I think it's going to be the same thing when Trent's gone. Because we saw it when Trent in 2022, his rookie year, when he missed several games, the Chiefs defense still was doing good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, because L'Jarius Sneed was still there, and they still had guys. Jalen Watson was playing well as a rookie. Like, there were guys in this defense that was a rotating door. That's why the Chiefs don't pay that position, because they know that Spags and Dave Merritt, they can develop these guys. I think personally, and not to take anything away from any of these players, but I think given this certain coaching staff, I think a lot of these guys look better than they actually are. I think L'Jarius Sneed looked better than he actually was in 2023. How do I know that? Why do I know that? Because look, what has he done since? He's had knee injuries, sure, but he had knee injuries in Kansas City. Do you remember in 2023, Trevor? He literally wasn't training at training camp.
Yeah, I do think there is a correlation there with how our defensive line has taken some steps back as well, though. I think because obviously we know the lack of pressure up front will create problems for the cornerbacks and the DBs. So I think there is a bit of a correlation there. The fact that our defensive line hasn't been the same the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
So that I think has kind of played its part into his, but then again, like he's been put on islands on the outside sometimes, and he's got burnt. That's not his best skill set, right? So whenever he gets burnt deep, you just kind of have to put your hands in the air. That's just kind of what it is. But like he is a guy also that's gotten the best of elite receivers in this league. Jamar Chase and guys like that. Absolutely shut those guys down. So he has a certain skill set. He has a niche, right? There's a place for him, but I mean, I do agree, bro. I just don't think this position is one that you pay as far as what these guys are, the market is for these guys at this point. And it doesn't make any sense for the way we're constructed right now and where our money's got to be divvied out to pay a guy like that, to stay here and to be under a new contract. So we got to get what we can for him. And hopefully it's at least a first round pick and maybe a third or a fourth or a fifth.
Yeah, and if you guys disagree, it's totally fine. I want to reemphasize the point that the Chiefs are going to, even if they trade Trent McDuffie, they're still going to have to be creative with their money.
Yeah.
So think about the scenario of
saving that money and still got
the opposite where they actually try to say, you know what, let's pay Trent McDuffie $28 to $30 million. Like, how are they manufacturing that money and still going to go and add depth at defensive end and defensive line and wide receiver and other positions that we know the Chiefs need to add to? That's the question I have to ask. Like, I'm going to go with, like I always told you guys on the show, when it comes to free agent players, I always ask the question, do I believe that player is better at his job than Brett Veach is at his job? If I believe that player is better at his job than Brett Veach, I say sign him. But if I think the opposite, or I think Brett Veach is better at his job than that guy is, I don't sign him. Like, I know that sounds oversimplified, but it's worked. You've seen the way Brett Veach has done it. Moving up Tyrann Mathieu was a very controversial move. It ended up being the right decision. They moved off Justin Reed. We're still going to find out that is the right
Marcus
decision.
Peters
More
did.
likely will be. Yes.
Yeah.
It all has worked out. Moving off
Peters,
L'Jarius
I was
Sneed.
pissed.
Yes.
But then it didn't really matter, man.
Moving off L'Jarius Sneed was the right decision to make because it worked. Like, that's the point I'm trying to say. It's not always the fun, easy decisions to make, guys, that, makes everybody feel all good. Sometimes you got to make the uncomfortable ones. And that's been my theme all offseason to this point of the offseason. I say all offseason as if it's been going on for a long period of time. But the point remains. There are uncomfortable decisions the Chiefs are going to have to make to maintain or at least retain the dynasty. Like that, if we're all going to sit here and ask what is the most important thing when it comes to what the Chiefs are and what we want them to be, it is to get back to Super Bowl contention. Mm-hmm. So with that comes uncomfortable moves. Even all the way back to when they drafted Mahomes, man. Going up 17 spots in the first round was wild in Kansas City. We've never seen them come close to doing something like that. That was an uncomfortable, risky move. So it should be no different moving forward with how they build this roster around that guy they took that massive risk on. To me, it's just on theme and it's on brand, man. It needs to continue that way. Right. I want to get to the people, Trevor. I know there's been a few questions on there, so let's go ahead and get some. It's time for Speak It. Hammer us with question, guys. Whatever question you guys have, throw it our way.
Yeah, we got our guy Dustin Orton up the top rope here. He says, "Speak it. Who is going to be the biggest threat to the Chiefs in the AFC West?"
This is a tough question to answer right now because of the fact that we still don't know what these teams are going to be in completion while Week 1 presents itself. If I was to take a wild stab at it, though, I think it's going to be the Chargers. The reason I say that is because I love what they did getting Mike McDaniel. I think Mike McDaniel is one of the brightest offensive minds in the NFL. Top 5 for sure. And Jim Harbaugh is already a brainiac head coach himself. So with that mind power together, that strikes a nerve for me. I've always been very dismissive with the Chargers because I simply just do not believe in Justin Herbert. But I think that coaching matters. And I think that when you get an offensive mind like that dueled with Jim Harbaugh's tutelage and his ability to lead men, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
And I think that the Chargers honestly deserve a lot of respect now because I think they have the right OC, man. I think they have a guy that can actually turn Justin Herbert around.
And even this season, they overcame quite a bit. I mean, they continue to lose offensive linemen every single year. And they still were a very competitive team. That defense was actually surprisingly like top 5 in the league this year.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were down a lot of guys too, and they still managed to have a really good defense. But yeah, I do agree. I think another year, get Omari and Hampton healthy. That guy's an absolute stud at running back behind that O-line when healthy. You got Ladd McConkey, who I still believe in. I think that kid's a stud. Yeah. You give Mike McDaniel, to draw some plays for that kid, get him in space. He's crafty. So yeah, I like that. I still think Denver's obviously a threat, but that defense, I don't believe in a lot of their offensive side of things, but they had a really good year this year, man. You know what I mean? So
I like what our guy Moshing Hurts now said, which by the way, I love that name. He said, let's be honest, it's felt like the offseason's like week 9. That ain't no shit, dude. That ain't no shit.
Rare, rare territory for us right now, for sure. But yeah, I think the Chargers are probably I would kind of roll with that, I think, as well. I don't believe in the Broncos. I just don't. Like, I know they had a good year this year. That defense is elite for sure, but they'll probably lose some pieces. I don't know. I have a hard time buying into who the Broncos are as far as like a longevity thing and them being like a true threat again. I think they'll be good this next season, but I think if a team is going to take that leap, I had the Chargers doing that this year, but they lost so many bodies.
Right.
They still maintained a good team. So I do think Mike McDaniel, though, going over there is going to light that offense on fire for sure, as it should.
And I ain't gonna lie, I love the Clint Kubiak signing for the Raiders.
Oh man, yeah,
he's a damn good.
If they get Mendoza, they could build something too. They still got a ways, but they have an elite player on defensive line. They have one of the best tight ends in football. They have arguably one of the better up and coming young running backs. They got to fix that O-line still, though. The O-line's still kind of shaky, but you get a high IQ QB in Mendoza. You don't need a freak back there.
Right.
Good Lord, what Geno Smith did this past season, you cannot get worse.
Right.
So if you get a guy who can just, play some safe football and, they could build something over there, but it'll be a couple years. Dustin Norton, next question. Speak it. Are fans fickle or really upset? They scream for new people. We pick up new coaches, and the response is very poor.
Okay, I'm glad this question was asked, and I didn't even read that on the chat, so I'm glad that I just heard that as it is, because I'm going to push back on that vehemently. Because, yes, there are new names now on the positions side of things, position coach side of things. But we all know when it comes down to the grand scheme of things, it comes down to your coordinators and your head coach. I'm not taking nothing away from position coaches. They do hold value. They do hold merit. Technically, in Kansas City, they hold a lot of merit because one's named Dave Merritt. But I appreciate the fact that the Chiefs got a new wide receivers coach. I appreciate the fact they went and got a running backs coach.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs have not made drastic changes. I saw somebody tweet that the other day on Twitter. I was like, they called it sweeping changes. Okay, let me just put this scenario out there. So the Chiefs bring back their old OC that has failed everywhere he's gone since. Their head coach is still going to call the plays in a scheme that just got figured out worse than I've seen an offense get figured out in a very long time with the quarterback that you have, no less. And you kept a special teams coach that is running the most embarrassing unit in the NFL.
That's the one that's driving me the most nuts. Dave Toub's got to go.
Does that sound like sweeping changes to you? Like I said, I'm not trying to be funny when I say this. This is not run it back. This is run it backwards. And I don't want to sound like a negative person here. I'm just addressing the fact that when people say stuff like that, I have to push back on that because that's not the truth. Yeah. They have not made drastic and sweeping changes. Their coaching staff is very similar to what it's been for a long time. And that's the problem. That when it was working for 6-7 years, I know you're going to do the thing, but when you're at the Super Bowl almost every single year, no one's going to talk about you making changes on your coaching staff because it's working. But when you have a season like 2025, and one of the biggest reasons you had that season is because of your coaching staff and the lack of adjustments, adaptation, and evolution, then you need to make those changes. But instead, all they're doing now is just leaning into it. So this, to me, is running it backwards. And that's the problem. That's my fear, dude, is I don't want to believe it. But if I'm going to sit here right now, Trevor, we got a long way to go. But if you're to ask me right now, where's my confidence level in the Chiefs getting back to Super Bowl contention in 2026? It is not very low. It's not very high right now.
We become slaves to familiarity. Like that's, I mean, this is possibly just a live by the sword, die by the sword situation. You know, that like I said before, that was what happened in Philly with Andy Reid. You know, I think this is a little different because you have the fucking GOAT at QB, but,
right?
You know, that is the outlier situation. We have Patrick Mahomes, but. I mean, the best we could do, man, is just roll with it and hope for the best. Like, you know, like I said, like when EB got brought back here, I didn't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I wish we did something different, but I'm going to be his biggest fan because I don't want to root for him to fail.
Obviously not.
Right. So I'm on the EB train, baby. Let's go. That's I have to do that, you know, by default. So I don't like it though. Not a fan. Our guy Micah Hayes chimes in. He says, "With the signing of the QB from the Saints and the announcement that Minshew didn't tear his ACL, will these two battle for the backup QB spot?"
Who's the other quarterback? I'm sorry, besides Minshew?
The zesty dude with the freaking pose, the guy that was the backup quarterback for.
Yeah. He looked like he was on the Blossom show.
Yeah.
Minshew is he's gonna have a market. I would actually like Minshew to come back to Kansas City if possible. Yeah. I would really like Minshew back. Yeah, I'm glad he didn't tear his ACL. It definitely looked like he did in that game. But yeah, I think that the Chiefs are, when it comes to the Chiefs backup position, it's going to be a veteran guy for sure. A guy that's been in the league for at least 6 to 8 years, 6 to 9 years. Nice. That's how it's going to be like. I mean, you look at throughout time. I mean, Minshew, I think, is the first quarterback in the Mahomes era that backed up Mahomes that was actually younger than him.
Yeah.
So that's a rarity, to be honest. So I think that more than likely, if Minshew's not back, you're going to see Marcus Mariota. You're going to see maybe even Joe Flacco, as crazy as that sounds. Like one of those older guys that have been around the league like the Alex Smith type of quarterback.
I would take Joe Flacco in a heartbeat.
A heartbeat, dude. Yeah, absolutely. You know, so like it's going to be one of those guys that just wants to, you know, hopefully fight for a title, you know, and be able to play for a team or, you know, back up a quarterback that can maybe get a Super Bowl. Like what's
Matt Moore up to?
I think he's coaching actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the kind of situation I'm seeing. But yeah, if Minshew wants to be back in Kansas City, is willing to take $3-4 million, do that in a heartbeat,
that's
man.
That's a no-brainer. Micah Hayes follows that question up with another one. Do you guys like Love's backup RB Jadarian Price as our first pick in the second round, or is that too high?
No, dude. We talked about this guy on this show.
Yeah.
That is honestly the dude I've been looking at. That's a running back I really want. I also like Singleton from Penn State. Go watch film on that kid as well.
Yeah, man, it's
physical, strong.
Too deep of a position, bro. Yeah.
Dude, welcome.
Deep.
Thank you.
Deep.
This is the whole conversation. I know we get so enamored and caught up with the glitz and glam of these top 10 guys and, you know, the high upside of a dude like Jeremiah Love. I get it. But there are dudes every single draft that come in the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh rounds that end up being dogs, dude. They end up doing things for years in this league at every position. Outside edge rush it's usually first-round picks. Yep. The point I'm trying to make, though, is if you're looking for running back value, you can go and get that dude in the second, third, fourth, fifth round. And then I think that's what the Chiefs are going to do. And I think the price would be a perfect. I know he's had some injury concerns. He had a really bad, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he is an Achilles tear, if I'm not mistaken.
Not sure.
Yeah, it was an Achilles tear, I think, his freshman year. And he had to kind of put weight on because I think he was kind of undersized when it comes to weight. He gained that weight, though, and he had an incredible 2025 campaign. So I look for him. I look for Singleton. There's other running backs we're going to talk about more and more throughout the offseason. But, yes, dude, that is not too high. To me, that's perfect. If the Chiefs were to go running back in the second round, I would be all about it.
Yeah.
All about it. So, yes, sign me up for that scenario.
Michael Hayes with another question. Do you like wide receiver Tyron Montgomery from John Carroll University? Had a good Senior Bowl practice week.
I would have to look him up. I will be honest with you. I've not watched any film on him. I promise you I will, and I'll get back to you. If you guys would be so kind, our next episode, ask me that question again, and I will have an honest answer for you. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know a lot about the dude. I honestly don't. I've been looking at Carnell Tate. I've been looking at Tyson from Arizona State, Lemon, I think from USC, if I'm not mistaken. Like, there's been a couple wide receivers I've been looking at, but I'm going to be real with you guys. Wide receiver is not a position I've really been taking a lot of time to look at because it's not a position I think the Chiefs are going to go early at. I think that they at the earliest, if I was to give you guys my prediction right now, I think the earliest the Chiefs go wide receiver in this draft is the fourth round because they know they got to go defensive heavy in this draft. They need to answer running back. I think that you're going to see, because ironically this draft in particular is very defensive heavy, especially at defensive line and at cornerback. I think that's where the Chiefs are. Yes, that's what the Chiefs are going to be looking at, is stockpiling their cornerback and defensive line rooms, and maybe even safety too, because we know that they're probably not going to sign Brian Cook back. Jaden Hicks has shown us some concerns as far as whether he's a starting safety in this league. So I think that's when you start seeing the Chiefs really start to pull the trigger at those positions early and often. I just don't think wide receiver is going to be there because I think they believe that Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy can be those top two guys. I think there's a chance they sign a veteran as well. I don't think it's going to be Hollywood Brown that comes back, but I could see man, I have to look. I mean, Keenan Allen's old, so probably not Keenan Allen.
That goes into Will's next, next question. He said, "Who would you prefer to bring back, Thornton or Brown?"
I would probably rather Thornton. I'd rather Tyquan Thornton because Tyquan Thornton gives this offense what they actually need. Hollywood Brown has a lot of injury concerns. I'm not saying Tyquan doesn't, but Tyquan stayed healthy last year.
He brought more to the table this year when given the opportunity.
Yeah.
Like
he's younger.
I like Hollywood Brown, but like, bro, Pat, he built trust with Pat pretty quickly. Yeah. And he was complete, and he had some catches that were like, God damn.
Let's be real. Hollywood was very disappointing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like his first season,
his whole tenure here has not been
right.
He's had a couple big games.
Yeah, I thought in that preseason game in 2024, I was like, oh shit,
no consistency.
The Chiefs, I really thought it was gonna be something, and it just never got off the ground running. I think that Hollywood's been a disappointment. I think he's gonna go somewhere else, get an opportunity to play more of a role in the offense. But Tyquan, without question, I'm not saying that I'm not a big believer in Tyquan, to be honest with you, but he does give this offense a certain level of versatility that they really lack, because Xavier Worthy was supposed to be that guy, and he's clearly not become that guy yet to this point.
Right.
Let's see if he does. But Tyquan would be my choice because also I think he'll be cheaper.
Yeah.
Because they know that he's kind of a one-trick pony. He's not a guy that has a route tree. He's not a guy that's got these insane hands. He's just going to be a dude that's going to fly down that field, and you just put the ball up and see if you can go get it with a 6'4" frame. So, yeah, I'd rather have that guy because you guys know my mentality on wide receivers. I like the bigger receivers far more than a guy like Hollywood Brown who's 5'11", 165, 170
He's a better
pounds.
MVS. We've kept MVS around here and paid that guy, so
Exactly.
why would we not keep a guy I think who's better than him?
Right.
In my opinion. And MVS still finds jobs somehow. It's unreal. Our guy Will in the chat brings in another question. What do you think on doubling down on D-line in the first two picks in the draft, or do you only prefer the top end guys?
No, if the Chiefs did that, I would have to put ice in my shorts permanently because that would excite the living shit out of me.
That's how we would draft.
Yes, dude. Like you guys, if you guys don't know Trevor and I'm telling you right now, every single draft until Patrick Mahomes retires, I want them to shore up both sides of the line. I want their offensive line to be as elite as possible, and I want their defensive line to be as elite as possible. Because if you have those down, you're winning Super Bowls.
That's how the Patriots won too, bro.
That's how the Chiefs have won. I mean, let's be real, dude. Like their best seasons winning Super Bowls, they had their tackles usually locked up, their offensive line was locked up, and they had an adequate pass rush.
Yep.
Chris Jones in his prime with a bunch of good players around him, top 2, top 3 in the league in sacks. That's how you get it done. And that's crazy to think about, too, because the Chiefs have yet to have a blue-chip edge rusher in the Mahomes era.
Right.
So let's say that happens.
Well,
Let's
we just possibly solidified the left tackle for years.
Yeah,
Let's see
man.
if we can solidify a legitimate elite pass rusher.
Think about that scenario real quick. Let's say Patrick Mahomes gets back to who he is, which I think we all know he will be.
Yeah.
Josh Simmons becomes one of those like top 10 left tackles in the league, right? And the Chiefs go and get Reuben Bain or David Bailey, and they become a guy that's getting you 12 to 15 sacks a season.
Yeah.
Is that not
they
the
become a
perfect
Max
scenario?
Crosby or something like that? Yeah.
Is that not the perfect scenario? Other than, and I hate to bring it back up, let's say, same scenario, Patrick Mahomes is him, Josh Simmons is him, and you get a top 10 running back. Well, that's cool. You're still going to be bad at edge rush.
You're still going to suck on third down.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like,
Yeah, you're still going to get out 3rd and 18.
exactly. You're
Fuck.
giving up 3rd and 69. It just,
Hey, but our running back scored twice today. But we gave up a 3rd and 35 to lose the game.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, bro, who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit? That's what I'm saying, dude. So, yeah, I'm going with scenario 1, and I would love it if the Chiefs were to double dip on defensive line, because to me, you can never
That's
have
ideal.
enough defensive line.
Especially we get another first-round pick.
Yes.
You know, we go 2 defensive linemen in the first round, which we probably wouldn't do that, but like maybe a first round early, the 9th pick would be a defensive lineman, and then maybe a running back or a receiver or something,
Yeah.
and then go back into the defensive line again. Who knows, man? So many different scenarios, but yeah, going double dipping in the defensive line would be erotic.
Yeah, that's well said. My dream scenario would be the Chiefs at 9 get either Reuben Bain or David Bailey, and then they get one of those late
I
first
think
round
one
picks.
of those 2 will be available.
Yes, I agree.
do
I agree.
Yeah.
And then in the late, with their late pick, you notice that Peter Woods, the defensive tackle from the Cleveland Tigers or Clemson Tigers, falls.
That'd be.
If he fell to the back of the first round and the Chiefs get David Bailey or Reuben Bain and then Peter Woods, dude, I wouldn't be able to stand up for a month.
And you got the possible promise of Ashton Gelati and Omar Lott, so you got a whole young dog.
Is that not exciting as hell to think about?
That is what I will be. I mean, yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I hate to be the rain cloud over your running back dream, but that would be, if we're all honest here, if you knew that this Chiefs defense could have a top 5 front 7 as opposed to a top 5 to 10 running back, like, come on, man. That is a dream scenario to give Patrick Mahomes. We fixate so much on making sure Patrick Mahomes has a great running back. Guys, when Patrick Mahomes has an adequate pass rush to defend him on the other side, that's when this Chiefs team's set up to win real Super Bowls, man. That's just how it goes.
Agreed. Last question here
Yes.
from Julia Gulia. Will Mahomes ever have a true wide receiver 1, and how long can Mahomes carry Andy's offense?
Great questions. I think this when it comes to the offensive side of things, these are the questions we have to ask, because I'm not sure if the Chiefs are ever going to have a number 1 receiver with Patrick Mahomes, and it's not because of a lack of trying.
Right.
It just sometimes franchises have a hard time nailing down certain positions. Because let's be real, outside of a miraculous, 1 in a million chance they got Tyreek Hill in the 5th round, the Chiefs have not had wide receiver 1s for the majority of their franchise's history.
Right.
They've gotten tight end down. They've gotten running back down. They've gotten edge rush sometimes down. But that's about it. Like most positions during this franchise's run, outside of maybe cornerback here and there, they haven't really nabbed those wide receiver guys down.
Well, and that's also because, we just happen to have Tyreek, who was an absolute one of the biggest steals in NFL draft history. But we've also been a team who has, like I said before in the show, that this is a team that's been built, and the pass game has been built through the tight end position. So that has been the wide receiver 1. So it's been a weird. We've done things very differently.
Yeah.
Right. So wide receiver 1, I still think Rasheed could be a prototypical wide receiver 1, but I do think him and Xavier Worthy's skill sets are so different. Right. So there's a polarity there. They just do things differently. So I think they're like combined as a true like elite wide receiver 1. Although I do think Rasheed can put up wide receiver 1 numbers. But still, there's even some gray area with what's going to happen with Rasheed moving forward. So as a true wide receiver 1, I don't think we're ever going to have like a Jettas or a Jamar Chase or a JSN this past season. I don't think we're going to have one of those.
Yeah.
That'd be fun, but it's not always necessary either.
I don't. Yeah. To answer the question as candidly as I can, I don't know if they're ever going to have, like you said, one of those names. But I think that you can get the production out of certain players that are more like wide receiver 2s that look like wide receiver 1s in this offense, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to be guys that Patrick Mahomes can elevate to make them look better than they actually are. Case in point, Tyquan Thornton. Tyquan Thornton was an outcast in New England and then came to Kansas City, made immediate impact, and looked like a desirable player. So I think that's the elevation that Patrick Mahomes can offer guys that may not be wide receiver ones that can come into Kansas City and become guys that put up wide receiver one numbers. If that makes sense. I wanted to add, real quick, because I know that was our final question. Real quick, I'm not trying to extend. Oh, go.
One more from our. I'm not sure. We see your the names for some reason on StreamYard changed. We don't see like your usernames. We see like your actual name. So NCC1701ENT. I'm not sure who that is exactly, but my apologies. But it says, Trevor, can you guys answer just one more question? So Isaiah Pacheco is done. He's still under contract for next season, right?
No, he's a free agent.
Yeah.
He's
gonzo.
Yeah, and to answer your question as honestly as we can, and obviously he asked you, Trevor, so I don't want to take your.
Oh, it's our guy Kirk. Sorry.
Kirk, what's up, man? Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. I recognize the name, honestly.
Yeah.
There's no scenario that Isaiah Pacheco's back in Kansas City.
No.
He's been injured several times over, and you saw. Remember in 2022 and 2023, he had that explosiveness to his game where, it looked like there was nothing in the play, and you just see him burst and go and get 40 yards. Those days are gone. After that ankle injury or that foot injury when he snapped that shit, he's just never been the same player. He's not old. He's only 26.
It's honestly for me, it's been like his inability to like absorb contact and keep going
and read holes.
He
can't
first
find
contact.
the gaps.
He's going down.
Yeah,
like it's like bro, like Kareem Hunt's out here just trucking through guys and taking the third contact to get him down.
Right.
Kareem's got a decade on him almost, so it's like, dude, like, come on, man.
And that's the point, is that, like I've said on the show a million times, Trevor's sick of hearing it. Getting Pacheco in the 7th round and him doing what he's done for this franchise, it's a success story. This dude was the starting running back for a back-to-back Super Bowl champion.
He's got 2 rings on it.
That's what I'm saying. He's done far more than he ever should have.
The man has scored touchdowns in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so we very much appreciate everything he's brought.
Dude is a big success story.
Yes.
Like, I love the guy.
But it's over.
But it's time.
It's time.
Yeah.
This league, man, it does not last long, especially at that position. That's been kind of the fucking point I'm trying to tell you all.
Let's take one in the first 9 picks. Let's do that. But that's it for the question, brother.
I wanted to ask you, and I want to ask the viewing audience here, guys. I want you to give me your opinion on this, kind of prove my point of everything I'm saying tonight. If you could get one of these 2 players in their prime and add them to the Chiefs roster this next season, which one are you going with, Trevor? Jamal Charles or Justin Houston?
In their prime? Oh, man, dude, don't do this to me. Probably Justin Houston, because I think right now the way this team is, that's tough, though. Because Jamal Charles is like...
I just thought of it.
One of those guys that's just... But I just got done saying on the show, though, but granted, that was Myles Garrett compared to like an elite running back.
But remember, the prime of Justin Houston had one of the best seasons ever.
My brain, like my analytical brain, is telling me just to go with Justin Houston because of what he would bring to that edge and who he was. People forget how fucking incredible that guy was.
Yep.
And why he got paid. God damn it. But Jamal Charles is like, my heart is like, it's easy Jamal Charles' choice in my heart because I like just growing up watching that guy and like him in a cloud of dust somehow escaping and taking off for an 80-yard touchdown. It's just highlight reel after highlight reel.
Yep.
But my brain and the way what we need, I think, more right now, I would go Justin Houston.
That's the point I'm going to make. I'm going to.
That's like the contrarian take, though.
Yeah, I'm going to tweet that out. I'm going to tweet that out. Our guy Will said Justin Houston. That's gonna be the minority pick. I'm just going to let you guys know right now. It's going to be predominantly. It's going to be Jamal Charles.
Love and the lore of Jamal Charles.
That's it. See, Jamal individually was the better player.
He was one of the best offensive players ever, man.
But this is the point that you just nailed it, though.
Yeah.
It's the positional value.
Yeah.
That Justin Houston may not have been the better individual player for a long stretch of time, or at least like at their prime years. But even to that fact, though, Justin Houston in his prime had a 22-sack season.
He was unbelievable for like 3. There was a 3-year stretch. Yes. That was just like unreal.
He was dominant. Yeah. And that's the point I'm trying to make is that, yes, Jamal Charles, when we get so infatuated with offensive players. And Jamal was that one shining light in a really shit era of the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. That's why fans love him so much, is that he was like that one consistent.
Dude. He was the show. He was all we had.
He was averaging over 5 yards a clip on a bad team.
What do you know? A really good running back on a shit team.
Yeah, dude. That's
boom. What do you know? Bad team.
But see, that's the point I'm trying to make, though, Trevor, because and I can even go in further and say, which one would you rather have in their prime? And this one might even be more one-sided for me. is Jamal Charles or Jared Allen. Because ironically,
Yeah.
Jared Allen was the guy they traded to get Jamal Charles in the draft.
I think Jared Allen's still underrated.
Yeah,
I think Jared Allen,
He
dude,
had 126 sacks.
unbelievable. I got it. Yeah, I mean, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
That
dude.
guy, yeah, for sure. Julie Gulia says the play action with Mahomes would go crazy though.
Yeah, but that's actually if he ran fucking play action.
Exactly, bro. Yeah, exactly.
They just RPO the shit out of Jamal on that one, man. Like,
That
yeah,
is-
I'd love a play
Why
action
not
here and
both?
there.
Yeah,
That'd be-
I'm
it'd be
gonna have
nice.
some fun dreams tonight thinking about that.
don't bring the Jergens too close to you, Trevor. Jesus. We appreciate all the questions, guys. Awesome questions as always. We very much appreciate all the interaction. It's what makes this show so much fun. If you guys go to YouTube, hit us on there, subscribe, notify, share, like, all that cool stuff. That we appreciate it. But the comment button is the one we want you guys to push the most because we love it when you guys are a part of the show. It's what makes the show what it is. It's a community-driven show, man. So we talk with you, not at you. So we very much appreciate you guys and tell your friends about us. Very much appreciate that as well. Trevor, we have one more order of business to get to. What is it called?
Hold this L.
Each and every episode to finish off every single episode with a series of L's in the world of sports. Whether those L's are friendly L's or not so friendly L's in the world of sports, we promise you, who's ever holding the L's in the world of sports deserve those L's in the world of sports. Trevor Twidwell, who's holding the L for you this week?
All right, man. So I hate kicking the man when he's down, but my L's got to go to Stephon Diggs. Not only did the man lose his woman right before the big game, who was dancing up there next to my girl on the halftime show, Jessica Alba. Shout out. I'll see you when I get home.
Oof.
But no, my guy Stephon Diggs, man, lost his girl right before the Super Bowl. Lost the Super Bowl honestly in a dominant fashion. Outside of a garbage time, not garbage time, but the one score they got was cool. But like other than that, they were absolutely just getting dominated defensively. So that he lose the game, and now he's got to go right to court and deal with this strangulation case where he's trying to get a plea deal because he seemingly is guilty here. He was clearly against his former personal chef. Just seemingly having some impulse problems. That's unfortunate. I like Stephon Diggs as a player. He's a great talent. It's been fun battling against that guy as a rival for years. But I mean, this guy is taking L after L here, right? So this is just a rough position for this guy to be in, especially losing the Super Bowl the way they did, having the hell of a year, overshadowing the team he just came from, going from the Bills to the Patriots and then beating the Bills in their own division is a cool thing. So he had a hell of a year leading into it, but now it's crumbling very, very quickly for this guy. His reality is heavy right now. So going from losing your girl Cardi, I think she's like the 6th woman he's got pregnant this year.
He's closing in on Nick Cannon.
Yeah, I mean, cool. Good for them. They got money. They can do all that, whatever. Put Elon to shame. But yeah, I mean, losing her, having to watch her dance in the halftime show, losing the game itself. Probably not going to be with the team next year, so he's probably going to be floating around, and he might even have a job. Might go to prison. So it's just a lot.
Nuts.
It's a lot going on right now, but he probably will get out of it. Obviously, a lot of these guys with money, they just tend to get out of these things. But just a bad reality right after that, making maybe the highest point of his career and then going right from that to like maybe some of the lowest parts. So for that, my guy Stephon Diggs, do me a solid favor and hold this L.
Real quick, shout out to Julia Gooley. She said, great show, guys. We love you. We appreciate you, Julia. We appreciate all you guys, man. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the chat. You guys make it fun, dude, really, honestly. So we appreciate all the opinions as well. That's what the show's all about. Woo! I got a doozy for y'all. I don't understand a loser's mentality. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I am when it comes to competition, when it comes to sports, I am very cut and dry. I don't do participation trophies. I don't do hypotheticals. I don't like that shit. What happens is what happens, and you live with that result, and then you talk about how do you get out of that or how do you continue it. That's what I live by. Like I always tell you guys, when we're on this show, we're not here just to bitch and complain about what's going on with the Chiefs. We're a solutions-based conversation. That's what we want, solution-based conversations. That's not the case in Buffalo. No, what they're trying to do is, because the Olympics are going on right now, the Winter Olympics. The Bills are trying to compete for the hypothetical Olympics, and so far they're doing really good. They're winning gold like crazy. They're winning all the Super Bowls in the hypothetical.
Emphasis on the pathetic.
Yeah. Buffalo sports radio host Shop and Bulldog, sounds like a petting store, at WGR 550 decided to put out this shameless and pathetic, to Trevor's point there, this question that they thought for some reason they were cooking with. Go ahead and play that beautiful bean footage, Trevor.
What's the final score of that game if it's the Bills and not the Patriots? I decided last week, or the week before, once we had the matchup, like, if the Bills had made it to Seattle, to that game, I wouldn't have sweated it at all. I think they're good. But the Bills never lose a game by very much when they lose. Like, it's usually, even these games this year, we talk about it like they were bad losses. I mean, they were, but Atlanta and Miami, the Baltimore game last year, like, they're all games where there's a chance. Like, you're in the fourth quarter and you're live. Rarely do they ever have a game. Well, that's, I guess, a little bit like last night.
Yeah.
But wouldn't they have done a lot better than the Patriots last night?
Ooh. That's one of those clips where I don't really know where to like dive in and like start my.
I need a fucking
my
Tums.
L.
I need a Tums, bro.
I get. I look. I love the way he's like, you can see that his mind is working against himself.
Yeah, he's like,
yeah, because
he's already in it though. He's already committed to the take.
He first of all suggests, or it says, if it wasn't the Patriots, you mean the Patriots that won your division and beat you?
Bro.
Yeah, if it wasn't them who won your division and got to the Super Bowl. Yeah, beside that, also the fact, and Trevor, you talked about this before the show, the Bills were not one game away from the Super Bowl this year.
Right.
They were multiple games away from the Super Bowl this year. So the dismissiveness of the Broncos and the Patriots is even more comical, seeing they literally lost to the Broncos that, didn't even get to the Super Bowl themselves. And then he said if they would have gotten to the game against Seattle, he wouldn't have been worried. And his logic behind that was because the Bills, when they lose, they don't lose by much. And they don't have bad losses, but then immediately recants that statement by saying, well, I know the Miami and Atlanta loss was bad, but, they don't.
Yeah, so like, what's the point of even making
exactly
that point?
Like, what are you even saying right now? Like, I don't even know where his, like, what the angle was. Like, I'm somebody who consumes sports media constantly because I'm always trying to learn cadences. I'm trying to, study other people and try to better my craft and sharpen the way I approach things. When I'm listening to this, man, all that happened was my brain started to bleed because there's nothing of substance that came from this. But unfortunately, guys, this is just a microcosm of what's going on in Buffalo right now. And I feel almost bad because our quarterback's the reason, for the majority reason it's been happening of late. I mean, losing 4 consecutive Super Bowls is already bad enough back in the 80s and 90s. But to have this now where you finally get a juggernaut quarterback and it just so happens his father plays in Kansas City and therefore you can't beat daddy. So now you have another curse on your hands. So I know that the insanity has been ensued by those types of situations, but it's still so sad to see a franchise that is a perennial playoff team that wins their division almost every single year, that has real Super Bowl prowess and expectation, to now be resorting to these types of offseason conversations where, if they'd have won just 2 more games, I think they would have had a chance in Seattle because they don't lose by much. Like that, say that out loud. That is the saddest, most pathetic type of existence to have, from the franchise all the way to the fan base. And when you got your GM Brandon Beam MFing fans now because they're getting pissed off at you and they disagree with some of the decisions you guys are making this offseason, it just becomes even that more hysterical. So for that, Shop and Bulldog out there in WGR 500, whatever the fuck you guys are called, do me a solid and hold this L, because that's the saddest, most hilarious take I've heard in a while. Like I said, it just felt like as he was starting to talk, his brain started to break down on him in slow motion. So I really enjoyed it.
So bad.
Really enjoyed it. But I also really enjoyed this show, and I hope that you guys did as well. That is our goal every single week, is to give you guys, a little bit of an opportunity to break away from the normalcy of life, because I know that the normalcy of life just doesn't feel very normal anymore. So we're just trying to make sense of it and have fun as much as we can, and I hope that you guys do as well. So definitely hit us up, guys, throughout the week. Like I said, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Join the conversation. It doesn't just happen here. It happens on social media as well. So hit us up on our Facebook group. Hit me up on Twitter at Lance the Spoken. Our handles are right there below us. You guys can hit us up on our Twitter handle as well on the Spoken Pod. Like I said, we're trying to be as interactive as we possibly can. A lot of discussion, a lot of decisions that need to be made this offseason. We're going to be here to talk about them, guys. But as the news continues, that's when the shows will continue. If we have a slow week, there might be a chance we don't have an episode because I'm not going to sit here and try to bore you guys with repetitive banter, if you will. But if there is news, and when there is news that comes down the pike, you better believe that on Friday nights, Trevor and I will be here. I just wanted to put that out there so there is no confusion if there happens to be a week that Trevor and I are not in front of you guys on a Friday night. So, but we always appreciate your guys' attention, the fact that you guys actually take time to hang out with us before the weekend kicks off. We very much appreciate it. So thank you guys so much. So for Trevor Twidwell, for Clay Winther on the back end of things that puts everything together for us at Red Tribe Cinema, I'm Lance Twidwell. Episode 345 of the Spoken Podcast is done, finished, and finito. And until we are back here, whenever we're back here, we out of this bitch. See y'all later.